Alright, hello Justine. I hope you're excited to learn a new skill today. In the world today, most people just buy their ready hot or iced coffee at a coffee shop or make coffee at home in a standard way. Most people at home use a drip machine or a Keurig coffee maker. Today we are going to learn about a different, more hands-on way to make coffee. This method of making coffee is called pour-over. This method of making coffee has some essential items that are different from making coffee with a Keurig or drip machine. In order to learn how to make pour-over successfully, you will have to keep your eyes on me and listen closely to my instructions. If you can do a good job listening and keeping your eyes on me, you can enjoy a cup of coffee and choose a movie that we will watch tonight. Alright, Justine, before we begin the lesson, I want to review the expectations. First, how can you show me that you are listening?
Keeping my eyes on you.
Yes, you can keep your eyes on me and answer out loud. So how should you be answering questions?
Out loud.
Nice job. Alright. Before we get started, let's review some facts about pour-over coffee and just making coffee in general. Justine, what do we need to grind in order to make coffee?
Coffee beans.
Yes, we need to grind coffee beans to make coffee. Thank you for answering out loud. Just to follow up on that, what do we use to grind the coffee beans?
Coffee grinder.
Yes, we use a coffee grinder to grind coffee beans. Thank you for answering out loud again. Okay, when making pour-over coffee, there are some items that are essential to the process. The items required for coffee making process are a bag of coffee, the beans, a scale, a calculator, a coffee grinder, an electric hot water heater, a coffee pot, a cone, and a filter. So these are all the things that we need for that. Justine, could you please list all the items that we will need to make pour-over coffee?
Coffee beans, a filter, a hot water heater, a cone, and a coffee pot, and a coffee grinder.
Yes, one other thing, we'll need that scale too. It's very important. Okay, now let's begin making some pour-over coffee. I'm going to tell you how to make pour-over coffee. When we've gone over everything and it is clear that you understand the process, I will demonstrate how to make pour-over coffee and we can make it together. Okay, eyes on me. First, we're going to place the coffee pot and cone and filter on the scale. So we have all of those things on here. We're going to add the filter in. That sits in there like that. Next, second, press the button on the lower right-hand corner of the scale that says power or 0. This ensures that the scale is zeroed. So you're going to see that right here. And the scale says 0. Third, open the bag of coffee beans and measure 20 grams of coffee by pouring the beans into the filter in the cone. It's okay if the beans do not equal exactly 20 grams. Fourth, place the beans into the coffee grinder and make sure that the grinder is set to medium. Press the start button on the grinder and then remove the case on the bottom of the grinders now that now holds freshly ground coffee beans. Next, ensure the scale is zeroed by pressing the 0 or start button again and carefully dump the freshly ground beans into the filter. Then use the calculator on the phone to do 20, the weight of the beans, times 16, the ideal ratio of coffee to water, and you should get 320. Finally, you boil the water in the electric water boiler and use that to soak all of the coffee grounds at once. Pour the water in a circular counterclockwise motion and be sure not to overfill the cone. Okay, let's simplify that process a little bit. I will say it first and then you can repeat it back to me. First, place the coffee pot, cone, and filter on the scale. Second, press the button on the lower right-hand corner to zero the scale. Third, open the bag of beans and measure 20 grams of coffee beans in the filter in the cone. Fourth, place the beans in the coffee grinder. And fifth, calculate 320 grams. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Could you please describe the process to me?
So first, you're going to make sure the scale is on and make sure it's at 0. And make sure that the pot and the cone and filter are ready to go. You're going to open the coffee, pour the coffee beans into the cone until it's 20 grams. And then you are going to calculate 20 times 16 to get 320.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can start making your coffee. And then you're going to grind the beans.
Grind the beans, and what's the final step with the water?
the water would be boiled, and then you pour it over the ground beans in the cone.
Perfect. That is the process to making pour-over coffee. Okay, so quick review. How do I know how much boiled water to use?
You multiply the number of grams times 16.
Yes, exactly right. You multiply the amount of grams you have times 16 to get the ideal amount of coffee to water ratio. Okay, before I grind the beans, do I zero the scale?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. And how do you know that I should zero the scale?
Because you have to re-add the beans once you grind them.
Yeah, you want to know that you're measuring their weight correctly, so you want to zero the scale first. So once the beans are measured, do I pour the water next?
No, you have to grind the beans.
Exactly, yes, there's a step of grinding beans in the middle of there. And also we want to make sure we're multiplying by 16. Okay, here we go. Remember what I said earlier. First, place the coffee pot and cone and filter on the scale. Second, press the button on the lower right-hand corner to zero the scale. Third, open the bag and pour 20 grams of beans in. Fourth, grind the beans. And finally, calculate 20 times 16 and pour in the boiled water. Alright, with your help, I'm going to make pour-over coffee. First, I have a bag of beans, my coffee pot, cone, and filter on the scale. What should I do next?
So then you would need to grind the beans.
So the first thing I do, I have all of this set up.
Oh, so you zero the scale, you pour in the beans until you are at 20 grams,
Yes.
and then you would grind the beans and zero the scale.
Yes, exactly. So once we have the beans in there, then we can multiply it by 16, and we'll know to pour in 320 grams of water.
Yeah.
Okay, so the final step of making pour-over is making sure it gets to 320 grams. Okay, so let's make some pour-over coffee here. So the first thing I'm going to do, how many grams am I going to put in here, Justine?
20 grams.
20 grams. Okay, we have 20 grams in there. What's the next step?
We are going to grind the beans.
Yes, we are going to grind the beans on a medium setting. Where should I put these?
In the filter.
Yes, in the filter on the cone. And it's exactly 20 there. Okay, we want to make sure we zero the scale again. What is my next step going to be?
Multiply 20 by 16 to get the amount of water to coffee ratio.
And we get 320. What comes after that?
So you're going to make sure the scale is zeroed, and then pour the hot water over the grounds.
Yep, so we want to make sure our water is boiled. And that water is already hot for us, so it should be ready to go. Okay, once we know the water is boiled.
So then you pour it in a circular motion until it reaches 320.
Exactly right. Nice job remembering the steps and answering out loud. You want to make sure you soak all of the beans. And we have 320. All right, awesome job, Justine. Here's a nice cup of coffee for you to enjoy. I hope you enjoy your cup of coffee and your movie of your choice tonight. Okay, you did an amazing job learning how to make pour-over coffee today. Tomorrow we will learn a skill that will be useful this summer. Tomorrow we will learn how to make iced coffee with the pour-over method. A few quick follow-up questions though. Justine, should I grind the beans before measuring them?
No.
And why not?
Because you need to measure the beans before grinding them to follow the logical steps of making
Right, so
them.
you know how much coffee you need to make. Perfect, great job today, Justine. Enjoy your coffee and your movie.